Hi and welcome. This is this week's hobo tutorial. Sorry guys, I forgot that it was even Monday. I mean, I knew I had an appointment on Monday, but I had the disconnect about it. Sorry, I'm late on this, but it is getting up today. And so what I'm going to be talking about today is something that I really can't talk about too much in public because it'll offend people. Because even people want to get offended for you when it's. This woke world is really getting on my nerves. But here's the thing. There are the way that things are going right now for the homeless. See, it used to be that, either you had a drug habit and that's what made you lazy or perceived as lazy by society. You were perceived lazy because you didn't want to go find a job because you were too deep in an addiction. Now it's much different than that. You have with the whole lockdowns and the shelter in place and the excess funding that is going to take care of the homeless. Now you've got these houses and these self-entitled, leeches is what I'd really like to call them, that are really coming out and taking advantage of the system. I saw it in Chattanooga and I thought, okay, that's just kind of weird. It might be just the place, but I've also seen it here in Cincinnati. And I think where the benefits are better, you'll see a higher concentration of this type of behavior. And so this is not something that you want to get yourself caught into. Now, I had to take somebody that, he's a friend, but he's not a friend, if you know what I mean. He's, okay, we'll call him an acquaintance. Okay, so I took somebody from Covington over here to Cincinnati because he just couldn't understand why I was getting frustrated. And I was getting frustrated because, it's like some guy hasn't had a shower in a day. He's like, oh my God, that guy stinks. Oh my God, that guy, his mannerisms. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like they want to bring the drama from their house and they want to bring it into, they want to bring it out here into the shelter system. And so now you've got these people here who just think that, oh, well, you know what? I can get free rent and there's a shelter and I could stay here as long as I want. Well, those people are going to be finding out that there are now limitations being put on these shelters for as long as you could stay. It used to be that it'd be rare, but you'd have one guy that would stay there for like 10 years and, he was going to be homeless for the rest of his life. But most people never stay for very long because shelters really weren't a comfortable place to be. It was just, show up, get a shower, get a meal, get a good night's sleep, get up and get out the door. And now it's, you get a meal, you get showers, you get laundry, you get all these amenities as if you have a home. And then, you make it to where, these people, who have nothing better to do than to suck off the system are they're the first ones in line because they spend all day doing that, sitting there because they got nothing better to do except for go around and get all their free stuff, and they figure that all that time waiting is their compensation for that in some form or fashion. Whereas when I brought him over here, I showed him, I says, look, this person hasn't taken a bath in a week. Look at these people's clothes. Look at the way that these people are in their addiction. Smell this alley, smell the piss. Some guy sits next to him and he smells like piss. Nobody says anything. And, my friend, because he's at least smart enough to know, okay, I better keep my mouth shut because nobody else is saying anything. It tells me later how he lost his appetite because he had to smell some dude who'd fucking pissed all over himself. And, this is really what homelessness is about. I mean, part of what you have to experience, what you're exposed to on a daily basis. You have the derelicts of society, those who have given up, those who have given into addiction, those who have just, have some sort of issue that they just cannot resolve that keeps them out here or keeps bringing them back out here. Okay. And this is what real homelessness is. It isn't some cushy shelter, and stuff like that. And I know a lot of you that may end up watching this think, oh, well, I just go to a shelter. I hear how nice it is. Yeah, but it's going to make you weak. It's going to make you lazy. And then when all those benefits dry up and you've got too many people pulling for it, and then they start saying, oh, well, you got this, you got that. And they start, giving preferential treatment to, in some places where they only have one shelter, what they generally do is they say, only women and children first, and usually the women and children take up all the beds so that none of the single men can actually get a bed. And so that, that could very well, become the future if you do not learn how to come outside and be outside. Because my friend, it was like one night outside because he did not want to sleep on a top bunk. He wanted to sleep on a bottom bunk, and he thought he should sleep on a bottom bunk. So he slept one night outside, and then next thing you know, he's back there. Oh, please, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, this, that, and the other. And it's like, really, dude, you're willing to sell your soul for a bowl of soup, just so that you could have, creature comforts. Part of this lifestyle, part of, what's going to separate the survivors from the not survivors is all of these softies that are coming out here. Eventually, they're going to figure out what it's like to be out here, and they're going to hate it. It's going to be like when millennials grew up and realized that they had to be adults and they couldn't be children anymore. And you're going to get that same uproar when all this comes crashing down, as services cannot be funded, there's too much demand for services, so on and so forth. Because one of the common things that you hear from homeless now that I never used to hear is, man, there's a lot of new faces out here this week. Because you go to feed lines once a week, and all of a sudden it's just nothing but new faces. Some are just migrating. Most are new out here, just trying to figure out how to do it. And they're in that beginning part of that backslide, and so they're getting to know things that are going on. But you cannot allow yourself to get comfortable out here. And I guess that's really what this is about. This is not meant to be comfortable. I mean, you can have comforts, like, okay, I have my sleeping pad, and I have a nice sleeping bag, and I have a nice backpack. But that's all my gear that allows me to sleep out here. It just makes it less miserable, but it's still not as fun as as being able to just like wake up one morning and be like, I don't feel like doing anything, and your rent's paid, and you just kind of like sit there and lay there and drool all over yourself and stuff like that. No, I have to be up. I have to be going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in some form or fashion, because I always run the risk of being rustled by the police or other homeless coming by and disturbing me, or the local houses, they get drunk and they come by and they're loud and obnoxious and they wake me up, or whatever it may be. I don't get to sleep all the way through the night and stuff like that. These are the discomforts that are about being out here. But you can use it to your advantage. And part of it is I've done it for so long that I'm used to it. It's kind of like my normal. It doesn't bother me. But on the other hand, I'm also using it to my advantage. And this is something that I think that you, as someone who follows my content, I think this is very, very important for you to really come to the realization of, is that, you're going to see a lot of these pampered homeless, and they're going to come out and they're going to start whining and bitching and complaining. And, they're going to, and I'm going to be laughing. Because, I kept trying to say something. I kept trying to say something to the people that I know that are stuck doing that. Now, there's a few of them that have listened to my advice, and they're grateful that they listened to my advice, because they didn't realize how much they were giving up when they were going to these shelters. They didn't realize, like, all the freedoms that they were losing just because they were more tied to having the creature comforts of a bed and a shower than they were of just, going out and pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps and trying to, do your own thing on your own terms and your own schedule. So anyways, guys, this is this week's hobo tutorial. Don't be weak, don't be soft, and I will see you next week. Sorry about being late.